Welcome to the Ashen Forge. Is Intrepid on their way to revolutionizing server architecture for massively online worlds? We'll be talking about this and more on tonight's show. And I am Phantom X, as always, joined by Diggs and the legendary Neurotoxin, trying to do a little bit different there. So, how y'all doing?
Great.
Doing all right. I liked the stream. I gave it a bit of a review earlier today to make sure that I'm a little bit more sharp on all the talking points and everything that they talked about. And quite honestly, it's there was a lot of it that definitely seemed like, oh wow, that's amazing. And there was a little bit that was like, yeah, it kind of seems like everybody should be doing that these days, like the having the different servers that manage some of the different systems. That makes sense. That's actually a very common thing for a lot of MMOs over the years to have a third party system that they use to manage chat. And sometimes that goes down, but the rest of gameplay is still working. So, it's not that it isn't something necessarily new to do that, but they definitely could be implementing it in newer and more dynamic ways, especially since it's not working with just one server. It's working with the entire mesh of servers, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, there's a big stream, a lot to unpack. I'm sure we have plenty for the time that we have. Yeah, the biggest thing being, of course, server architecture. How'd you all feel about the stream overall?
I was going to ask that, but I was going to throw an asterisk for Diggs. Aside from the announcement that Bard is next month's stream, you
I
know,
thought it was supposed to be last month's stream, but go ahead.
aside from the announcement that it's going to be next month's stream, and I believe they said next month they're thinking they're going to have the Alpha 2 date. Aside from those things, did you get anything out of the stream? Did you enjoy it? Was there anything in it for you?
No, it was nice. It was nice enough. It was okay.
It's nice
I
enough.
just think, yeah, I think the main thing though is it's not what I paid money for the devs to do. I mean, so it's
Well,
interesting because what Steven wants, and it pushes it even more towards it being a PvP game because um this is great for um an MMORPG where you need masses and masses of people to fight each other. Um, it's not really what I was paying for. So, rather than just needing to be online with a bunch of other people. Um, and so, um, yeah, I think this is something that you would definitely need to do if you want uh battles that are 250 against 250, or I think Steven really even wants 500 versus 500. So when you want battles like that, then this is something of course you would want to work on, but um I would rather still be seeing more details about nodes because that's what I paid money to support. And that's what I was hoping, um, the development of nodes and how that's going to change the AI and change the content. It's really the content, changing the content of the world that is what interests me about Ashes of Creation, and that's the revolutionary thing that I was hoping they were bringing to MMORPGs. We have not seen enough of that. To my satisfaction in the last 7 years, so it's nice. I think and it's cool. And I think again, for what Steven wants, I think it's great and kind of cool.
I think there were definitely some things in there that you might not necessarily say that you were, you know, you came to the devs to be the ones to make, but surely you can appreciate the idea that a battle can be going on somewhere in the game world, and that server and all the little things that they did to try to mitigate the volume of players and interactions going on there, it all crashed and burned for whatever reason. But you're far away from that. You don't even know that the fight was going on unless someone told you. You're not even in that, like, next to next server region whatsoever. You're way outside of what they're even considering for you. So it doesn't affect you at all. Instead of the whole server going down when a chunk of it fails, I'm sure you can appreciate as an explorer that your explorations in lighter density areas will go uninterrupted no matter how many times people are butting heads across the server, which it will be happening pretty constantly.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I don't. I mean, I think it's fine, but I don't need to know that. I mean, I've explored in other MMORPGs, and the server hasn't gone down. So, um, you know, again, that's the least thing. I don't need it to be so revolutionary that when I want to explore that the server crashes. That's kind of crazy.
Well, it's there's a lot of so I've spent I've far too much time looking into a lot of these different components. Um, I've pulled research articles. I'm just super curious about all this, kind of what they're putting together with IntrepidNet, um,
Mhm.
which is a fascinating name. I don't know how many people remember this, but back in 2017, well, actually, most people probably don't remember this, but we talked about it at some point. There's been various different trademarks
Mhm.
that Intrepid has had over the last 7 years. One of them, which was in 2017, was AshNet. And of course, we now have IntrepidNet. So I don't know if they're related. AshNet as a trademark fell off a long time ago, I think 2019. And so that's not been there for a while. But I'm super curious if those are related. Like if there was that much forethought, because if there was, quite frankly, that's impressive. That we're going to put together this new network sort of server architecture. I think potentially if it works very well, it's a marketable thing too. Do you sell licenses, or how do you go about doing that? But I don't think they would sell
But
it. But
I think in 2017 they would have realized, because again, Steven wants these large battles, and even with I think it was before APOC. Was it Alpha Zero where we were just jumping in and seeing how many we were trying to break the system? We just have, I think it was Alpha Zero. We had lots of network testing. And that's really what APOC was there for too, was to do network
mm,
testing. So it's always been Steven's desire to have at least 250 versus 250, and who knew that would be a drain on server systems. Um, but that would have been with UE4, like trying to come off of
still
trying to
possible.
innovate on UE4 technology. So um, probably IntrepidNet is like very different because they have very different tools and much better tools for handling the network stuff after 5 years. So um, I think that was always the plan, and it's very likely that whatever they had, if it was called AshNet or whatever, that it would be very different. Well, they probably would have needed a proprietary um, server networking thing back then
Yeah.
too.
But I mean, it's
Um,
it's it's fascinating to me if they really did have that much forethought. At the time, I figured AshNet was kind of like a launcher, sort of like BattleNet, right? And so we of course had APOC, and so the idea was just, is this a launcher for different games, blah blah blah. Now that we
yeah,
have it,
well, we had BattleNet back then. We had ArenaNet,
yeah,
right, as well. So
other company, but so
I'm
I
just saying, yeah.
I,
There's
I
been a
now I just curious, and maybe that's a question that will never get answered. No idea. I'm super curious about it. But yeah. So this new, were you about to say something there?
Yeah, I wonder if it's just because they maybe were able to actually get Intrepid.net, and that's why they changed to that. Because I
Easy.
don't know if they actually owned Ash.net or not, but then it gets confusing to be like, Intrepid.net is an Intrepid Studios project. Please go to, intrepidstudios.com/intrepid.net for, that's Nobody wants to do that. Steven has more business sense. He and Brian have better business sense to do something like that. So it makes me wonder if they actually own it, which I imagine you're looking up right now because I just saw a white browser screen open up and blast that side of your face.
I am Intrepid.net. It is has a privacy screen, so
Well, there
it
you
is owned
go.
by someone.
Done by someone. That might be a part of it. Why they've rolled it out with this name. Whatever they end up actually calling it, and whether that's just an internal name and not a website you're supposed to go to. I appreciate that they're kind of rolling it out as if it's like a product that's part of their brand rather than something specifically dedicated to Ashes. Implying that once they've got this game done, the ability to move on to the next game will be that much easier because they'll actually have everything with their server architecture and Intrepid.net up and running, and it's just a matter of, all right, let's make some new assets, write some new content, make some new abilities, new class and inventory and crafting system, and great, now we've got like the spiritual successor to Neocron. Awesome.
Mhm.
They could just be spinning up games in less than 5 years of very amazing quality.
Who?
Diggs, did I see your eyebrows wiggle so much that it moved your hat? I think so.
Probably. Mhm.
Moved your hat.
Mhm.
Well, I do want to spend some time talking about this. I know both of you obviously have been in the industry. I don't know how much you all have ever spent with networking, but again, I spent a lot of time looking over a lot of this stuff. The main things that kind of came out. Well, there are a lot of that's a lot to unpack. It's like an hour and a half of just a lot of information. But their goals were no layering, no low latency, and scalable. So that is their project goals. But um, it's a component. It's sort of combined 5 different services, right? That's what they put in to create IntrepidNet, which is server meshing, inter-server replication, microservices, dynamic gridding, and the replication graph. And so I think before all of this, there were several content creators, which I want to point out, by the way, there are 4 people currently streaming Ashes of Creation content. And that's freaking amazing. Things are clearly getting close to Alpha 2. It's a lot of fun to see. I don't know why you made a face. It's Q3. We're in Q3. It's coming. We'll talk about A1
We're
testers here soon.
closer.
But
We're closer.
out of those things, a lot of the creators spend a lot of time talking about dynamic, what they call dynamic gridding, or what in Star Citizen has been referred to as dynamic, server meshing, which is sort of the new part to this. The other 4 aspects have been done for quite some time. So it really seems to be the combining of all of this into one product. So, server meshing, for example, as a um, sorry, I just saw our logo toggle, and that caught my attention. Anyways, server meshing. Do y'all know when that first started? Like the first people to actually do server meshing? How long that's been around?
How long that's been
Anybody?
around?
Anybody in chat?
Yeah, I feel like it had to have been around before WoW. Was it EQ1?
I don't see if anybody in chat can say. I don't know if anyone knows before I give it away.
I know Star Citizen was working on server meshing, but I don't know before that.
So server meshing was first put into place with Ultima Online back in 1997.
Okay,
Okay.
that makes
So
sense.
as a idea, as a thought, and in practice, it's actually existed for quite some time. I'm sure it's changed. I'm sure it's gotten better. But the concept itself, and Raf Koster talks about this quite a while. But actually, there's a hilarious story, and it's not out there by him. I got to remember who actually put it out there. Um, Tim Cotton. And it's on Medium, titled "That Time We Burned Down Players' Houses in Ultima Online," and it's a story. It's hilarious to read. but it's a story about duping and trying to catch people who were duping items. And one of the main ways they were doing this was through uh, the I don't know if they called it server meshing at the time, but the boundaries. So when you would cross over from one server to the next, it's 1997, things were buggy. Um, so you had a lot of lag, and within that lag, and they kind of talked about this even now with Ash's implementation, the potential for bugs and duping and stuff like that. So that's where a lot of these duplication things came from in Ultima Online. Anyways, that
So
I don't know.
I'm showing that
People are
I'm showing I'm showing that uh Ultima Online had shards for server meshing, and
they had world
what we're
shards.
now
That's
talking.
different.
Yeah, no, shard is a subset. What I'm seeing is shard is a
No.
subset of server meshing, and then what we're doing now in modern days is dynamic
So
server
I
meshing.
see Dow and Taco in chat saying server meshing wasn't, it was server bouncing, was not. Ralph Koster has said he created server meshing. So that is something to chat with him about. Um, and if you read through, there's all kinds of documents out there of exactly this, the trade-off of information, the proxy character so that you can see across boundaries. Those things have actually, that's all in that history. So if you don't believe it, I guess
Yeah.
take it up with Raph. But shards were
Well,
different. Shards were his ability to create different
no,
servers.
shards are a subset of server meshing. So I'm not saying that it's not server meshing. I'm saying that it's a different type, I think, than what we're talking about now, which is dynamic server meshing, is what I'm saying. So I'm not saying that server meshing was not started with RAF or with Ultima Online. I'm saying Shard is a subset of that, but it seems like what we're talking about these days is dynamic, and what people are
Correct.
Star Citizen started to do is dynamic server meshing, which is different, is what I'm saying. But keep going.
Correct. And so far, that's the sort of golden goose for this whole thing.
Mhm.
Um, the developers themselves were saying, um, that they are almost there, that they were almost using words like "I want it," like "we want it," we're that's our goal. And then, of course, there's Steven, which very much reminded me of some of the stories we've heard of with Smedley at different conferences and like saying, we're going to do this. And then he turns to the developers like, well, got to get your shit together now. Um, then you have Steven saying, oh, this will be ready for Alpha 2. It's an entry point for us. So, um, hey, Gray Sentinels, thank you for rating. Welcome to all of you who are joining us.
Gray Sentinels, welcome to the stream.
Thank you
Gray
very much for the
Sentinels,
raid.
I
What's
don't
up,
know
Lloyd?
your theme.
Um, we appreciate y'all jumping in. Like most creators at this point, we're kind of talking a little bit about server stuff, and then we'll move on. Um, damn, Exiled Ranger, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. Appreciate you greatly. I don't know why that audio is on there. I'm gonna have to figure that out later. Totally should be something else, but anyways. For those of you who have not watched this before, or join us for the first time, we've been doing the Ashen Forge, Ash's creator content for 7 years. I don't know,
Mhm.
2017.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so, anyways, join in the fun. We're having a discussion about server meshing. There's a little bit of disagreement as to when it was created. I'm pretty sure it's Ultima Online, but anyways, the dynamic part is what we were getting to talk about, and so hope that's in. We'll see. That's. I mean, Stephen pretty plainly said that was entrance criteria, Alpha 2 entrance criteria, which starts to make me wonder if it's not ready. Did they delay?
Well,
Like,
what what Brian said is that they're hoping for a date. So date doesn't mean that it's going to happen in Q3. And that they're hoping for a date makes it seem like there could be a delay. We'll just have to see. We'll have to wait until the end of the month, which is when Brian said they'll have more information and be ready to talk about that. So
yeah. I am super curious about that as an entrance criteria. Fupo, server meshing was made by the ancient Phoenicians meshes their server nets together to catch many fish. Yes. Yum for sure. But yeah, dynamic gridding, that's going to be the really interesting thing to see if it can be pulled off and done well. Um, It sounds like if they hit their goals, they will reach that before Star Citizen, because I don't, as far as I know, Star Citizen has not fully implemented that yet to players. So they're in the process. Which I also find it super interesting that we get this stream from Intrepid and a big focus on server architecture and meshes and all of that. And like the next day, Star Citizen released a video about their dynamic meshing, like a behind the scenes sort of thing. Um, I find the timing to be super interesting and super weird. It's such an interesting topic, but even the inter-server replication that they talked about, there's a lot of information about that prior. So this really seems to be just packaging all of this together. Microservices have also, obviously existed within gaming and just development for quite a while. Putting this all together.
Phantom, did you check the numbers to see for the dev live stream if it's comparable to previous live streams, or did it
You mean as
uh,
far as how many people watched?
noticeably fewer? Because Steven seemed surprised that so many people were interested, and it was interesting. I'm not surprised that people found it interesting. Um, I,
I mean, it's
why
really
not?
hard to say.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that it could be that Star Citizen realized, oh, yeah, people are actually, because they've been working on it for years. They just might not have been. They just might not have realized that other people would be interested in knowing about that technical stuff.
Now I'm looking
Our
now.
Citizen still struggles to have even 100 people playing on a server, even if they're nowhere near each other. So, I think a lot of their problems is just working in CryEngine instead of, building their own stuff to an extent in an engine that's flexible, like Unreal 4 or 5 or
Hmm
3.
hmm
Their name popped up in at the chat enough times to get some bells rung. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird
hmm
how all of this is coming together. Clearly they know what each other are doing, and they're sort of in a. To me, it looks like they're in a little bit of a race to figure out this first. Um,
Well, I think they didn't know that. I think they didn't know that Intrepid was working on it. Um, and they especially didn't know that they would be talking about this stuff. So, they were like, "Oh, I guess we
yeah.
should have been talking about it."
Well, and what I was curious about too is that everyone focused on dynamic gridding or dynamic meshing, whatever you want to call it. But really, when you get past that, they spent a lot of time talking more about replication graphs and the cost of replication in an MMORPG, and even went to a point in saying even with dynamic gridding, if they can get that working, you can only get so small. And if you're going to have 250 v 250 groups, like you can't, they're going to be on one server for the most part. Like you can only get to such a small size. And so, really, a lot of the focus that intrigued me more so was just this idea of these replication graphs and how they're implementing them. So, I've spent a lot of time reading, looking at their code. Replication graphs were actually introduced in Unreal 4.2, I think, in 2019. So, they've been around a while, which is interesting when, Diggs, you mentioned back when AshNet was trademarked, it was Unreal 4. Like all of this was kind of in the view at that point. So I wish I could ask Stephen that question.
Mm.
But listening to them do the replication graph conversation and really even the multi-threading was, I think, more fascinating and more important um, to um, this development of getting it to where we can have a low latency, high population area, probably almost more important than dynamic gridding. So, thanks for the follow there, by the way. Uh, yeah, Steve N. That's my name for him now is Steve N. So, if he's going to troll me, I'll troll him back. So, in my digging, again, I think this is just super interesting where everything goes because they mentioned multi-threading and sort of the process of turning this into a multi-thread was crucial into their performance. And so looking through it, they mentioned Unreal is not built for multi-threading. It's largely not. It does support it, obviously. And there are some things that run on different threads, but everything largely runs on the game thread. But there is a very long, very detailed post in 2023 from somebody that has only ever made one post on the Unreal forums detailing how to do all of this multi-threading, like every function call, how it works. Interestingly enough, I was curious, and I like to Google it appears the person that wrote that, if they're using the same username other places, is actually a Cloud Imperium developer over at CIG working on Star Citizen. So again, it's just interesting, the community and how everything's tied together. And I'm super curious if they use that document at all in their process of creating this. So this is where I wish we could talk to other people. I want to talk to lore people. I want to talk to the networking people. Art. I want to talk to Steve in also, but So I don't know. Anything else to say about networking or?
I didn't actually give you my answer earlier. I really, really enjoyed this stream. I wouldn't record it and put it in my background, but I very, very much enjoyed seeing the tech, seeing the size of the team working on it, the confidence of the team in what they're doing. That I specifically called it out in the notes that the dynamic server gridding or whatever, where it was able to if you got a lot of people in one place, it'll make even smaller server chunks to help manage it. And not just that, but then when you continue back through the stream and the different things that they explain, it's each one of those is not just managing the people in that area, but it's also helping to tell the other servers nearby what's going on to further enhance replication speeds and help offload things, not just right in those spots, but potentially for people who are also close enough to see the action. One thing that I'm a little interested in, there's gonna have to be some sort of a breaking point. I don't know if they're gonna do like a distance elevation sort of thing or what, or if there's a way to do like an LOD sort of thing for large landscapes that you can see but you're not really interfacing with. If I go to the peak of a nearby hill on a clear day and I'm in what would be line of sight of a large battle going on, um 5 servers, 6 servers away, will I see it? Will I see smoke? Will I see sparks and spells flying? Will it, even if it's a cheap and averaged version of it, what will I get to see of that from that distance? Is there some way I can use a magnifying glass to focus in on that area? That's the sort of stuff that going back to the one of the things that they've said like earlier on, and it was something that was hugely emphasized earlier on. If you see it, you can get to it. Now, in Alpha 1, there were definitely some borders, so you couldn't go beyond a certain distance in certain areas. However, for all the stuff you could access, if you climbed everything and platformed real well, you could get to the tops of some stuff. And that's the thing that I'm kind of wondering is exactly how much and how far and to what level of detail. Is it the sort of thing where as a surveyor somebody could actually go up with not a magnifying glass, with a telescope or a spyglass or something? Did I say magnifying glass earlier? I apologize if I did. I was mistaken. to actually be able to look at the resources and the trees, and potentially what type of water it is, that would be expected to be in an area, so that way you can actually from a distance be able to say, hey, over to the northeast of the big hill, around this far away in this distance, in this direction, that you'll be able to find the specific trees that we need for the current project, and be able to help use that as a way to guide and direct players towards different opportunities. And likewise, for someone like Diggs to be able to climb all the way to the top and then use the sit down and pull out the picnic basket emoji, and the or full emote or whatever, and he'll sit down and have a nice little rest at the top of the hill and gaze upon the landscape, and do dig stuff, maybe play a flute or something.
Watch thousands of people destroy each other.
Yeah, that one too. I'm sure we'll be watching plenty of those. Be
Are you
like
gonna?
the was it the Revolutionary War? No, it was the Civil War. I think that was the one where people would US Civil War, where there would actually be the aristocracy like off to the sides where the battle wasn't going on, just sitting and having their picnics and just watching the fights go on. That's what they taught. That's what they told me in my history classes growing up. If
Mhm.
that's true or not, I don't know. But it paints a funny image, and
Mhm.
Dick just being out there on the sidelines, like, "Hey, got some peanuts I can spare there." Sure
I
is a
got my
nice view you got.
I got my
What was-
popcorn right here.
you got your popcorn? That would actually be a fun trait. Is that you pick corn and make popcorn. Unfortunately, it would require you to start dying a few times to lose the experience from doing that.
Yeah. People might try to steal my corn, so I don't know if I could do that.
Um,
Don't pick Dick's corn. Do not. He won't do anything about it, but people will.
so you plan to go to the top of a mountain and have a picnic? Like, what are you gonna do?
Uh, I don't know. I probably will be on the top of a mountain. I don't know if I'll have a picnic up there. It depends on what kind of cosmetics are associated with that.
But I
Very
really,
Western Victorian ones, unfortunately.
yeah,
Sorry.
I do want to point out, um, because this somehow came out. I think it started with Narc's video that was then reacted to by Asman, like this whole one server, one world server video. There is not one world server. There will be several servers. Um, so I'm pretty sure everyone that watches us or
I
watches any
think
of
you're
the Ashes
saying,
content creators right now knows that. But for anyone that might watch this on YouTube later, there is no one giant world server.
wait, so that was similar to Light No Fire is what he was thinking it was going to be? Just one
Oh hell, I
giant
have no
world?
idea. But somehow
Um,
it seems like he misinterpreted what was being said.
mm.
Um,
Well, I think the new thing for me is that there's going to be several servers per realm. Um, so they even changed the terminology a little bit.
yeah, I was just
Margaret was
about,
saying.
yeah, I was just,
Mhm.
uh, it was just about, actually, I'm typing it right now. It's hard to follow. Yeah, with using the word server, it got really, really hard to know, if you're not paying attention, realm or shard or something else should be used. There will be one, there will not be one world realm that everyone plays in.
Yeah,
No,
I
no, no,
think that was
no, no, no,
actually the
no, no.
word they were
This,
using was
this, no,
realm.
this, yeah, this is a new thing. So it's several shards. I mean, it's several servers per realm.
Correct.
Margaret changed. Yeah. So, I mean, if he said realm, then that is correct. There's several servers per
No,
realm.
no,
There's
he
not
said
just
one
one
world
realm.
server. Trust me, you go watch the video. He
Yeah,
interpreted
but I want to know what he means by that because
what he said.
now what you're saying is, yeah, but now what you're saying is that there won't just be one realm, which is a little different. I mean, if you're using different terminology, then we don't know what he means because I don't know why he would say world. right?
Because
Because there are several.
so if you watch him at all, he wants a game where
Yeah.
there's one server, one realm,
Okay.
and everybody plays on it together. And
Mm.
that kind of
That's what Ashen wants.
that seems kind of boring to me because I want to see different servers having different stories, or sorry, different realms. But anyways,
That's what Asmon wants.
yes. So
But no, I mean, it depend again, it depends on the game that you're playing, and it sounds great to me for Light No Fire. It's not the same thing that Ashes is pushing for. It's just a different way to play.
yeah. But the last thing I want to mention on this was also that apparently during Node Wars, which I can still talk about that, we were playing under all of this server architecture, apparently, except for the dynamic component. Um, everything else apparently was in place, server meshing, which is cool. I didn't know that. That also makes me feel a little bit more comfortable, or more, I don't say comfortable, but I keep saying they'll hit Q3 anyways. But the speed of which they were able to fix server issues, um, knowing now that this was in place, for that, and that's what they were fixing, or I would assume that's what they were fixing, happened so quickly with the data we gave them, I think is a very good sign. Make no mistake, and I made a video about this as well, sort of Alpha 2 expectations. It's going to be bugs, bugs, bugs. It's going to be buggy. Servers are going to go down. Um, but the speed of which they actually took that data and did something with it, to make things better was impressive. So, um,
It makes me wonder if they were starting to reach a limit with some of that AI bot testing and wanted to see where the rubber hits the road when you started introducing players into that environment. And so every time you were playing, it was, maybe a little bit about the feedback and gameplay and a little bit about the fun and the, enjoyment of things, but a whole lot more about seeing where the weak points were, being able to improve the models for the AI models for testing to provide and now anticipate for those sorts of things that were causing trouble, to fix the issues and run it against those models, and then come out with what their next iteration is, to do the same thing over and over. And so iteratively with each test, I could see potentially that they were using the data from the test to improve the model, so they know how to fix it without running a whole bunch more tests and trying to do it live. And then as they iterated on it, they were able to bring up, another. So, that would mean that there's a lot going on behind the scenes while they're doing all of this. Now, maybe that isn't what they're doing, and it was just like get one little fingerprint of, what it's like for this sort of interaction, and it's more of an informative point, but it wasn't something that they were using to improve their modeling, for example. It was just, where do things break? Where are we getting all of the errors and issues in the log that we need to fix? This, that, and the other. What things are firing out of order compared to the most efficient way they could be operating? Yeah, that sort of stuff. There's so much going on that it's really hard to tell what they could be doing. But the fact that they're using sort of like AI bots as part of the model for how to test all of this makes me think that they're potentially using the PI playtest as a way to do that. And then, that makes me wonder and kind of appreciative of what the lucky thousand will get to
yeah,
do.
this is
So
a
I know that had been brought up. Somebody asked about our
mhm.
thoughts on that. So go right ahead and
This is
introduce the proposition.
Yeah, so this is, yes. We are finally now bringing this up because it has been mentioned in chat. Um, there are actually three very interesting pieces of information that came out besides all this, but one of them was, yes, Alpha 1 testers. Apparently, sometime in July. We don't know when. There was some confusion because Steven had actually put, I think, in Discord something about some invites have gone out or some emails have gone out or something like that. And Margaret kind of quickly said, no, that's not happened yet. But sometime in July, they're going to be inviting, it was what, 1,000 A1 testers to start. And so they're going to split that into 500 are the top.
Most active.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Top
Huh.
500 A1 testers will be invited in. Diggs, do you think? I mean, did you play A1 as much as you did APOC? Because if this was APOC, you would be in. But
Yeah,
okay.
I played A1 a lot.
So there's anyways.
We can stream it.
Yeah. So real quick, they're 500. Thanks for the sub there. 500 of the top A1 testers, and then 500 apparently random people.
Random people from the A1 test group.
Correct. So this is all A1, and then assuming that goes okay, however they do it, then they'll invite apparently the rest of A1 in. So
I'm going to put an asterisk on random. I don't think it's true random. People who didn't play it at all, people who absolutely got banned, people who, let's say, had very little game time and zero forum interaction whatsoever in like the past few years since. I would imagine those are the folks that are maybe going to get sifted out. And so the A1 randoms will be people who are still at least somewhat active. Maybe they show up to the streams, maybe they post on the social media, maybe they use the forums. They played the game more than not at all. Even though it's only going to be 500 random people, it's not a true random, that there will be a little bit of requirements going into it, which I would certainly hope they're doing, because I wouldn't want somebody who didn't play Alpha 1 whatsoever to get selected, and then they don't do this testing and was like, well, great. Well, instead of getting 1,000 people, you got 999 people, or, minus however many you accidentally rolled on. And then with that, I would imagine also it's not just who was actually active during Alpha 1, but maybe again, who's been active since then, to make sure that they're getting people who are still active and not people that were like, man, that thing's vaporware. I played a few years ago. We haven't played anything since. Blah, 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 fart. No idea. I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of thought going into who is potentially getting selected and why. How much? I don't know. They've got I don't know if that's a community team decision, if that's a HR marketing decision, who does that one. If they just have like every tester and what they did as like a hot or not sort of thing, and they just sit through clicking on that and eventually sifting out who's a better tester and who isn't. No idea. That last one's kind of funny, but I don't think they're going to do that either.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if I make the top 500. I just want to know who does make it.
Well, they will not be able to share. So if it's not you, you
Nope.
won't know. I mean, I get it. Like you would assume that the people that they've not really defined what that meant, right? Most active, like if it's time, if it's bug reports. I mean, I
They
get
said forums and time.
okay, because it makes sense. You want people who are going to give you feedback. So
Definitely.
yeah, and this is where also I would agree. Like the random part, I would wonder if there are a few spots that are less random by design, because it's a crucial time where they really need people that can offer feedback, apparently better than what PI has been doing, and myself especially as well per Reddit. PI has broke the game.
Have people been backseat critical of PI activities that they have no actual idea of what's going on.
Yeah, there was
That
there was
the best account they have is what everybody's talking about.
it's a now deleted post aimed at me and actually more so Envious, but anyways.
Oh, both of you?
Well, I think it was aimed more at Envious, but it was after I had been on
Mm.
Narcs talking. So,
Oh,
anyways, that's a different rabbit hole. Um, but yeah, I mean that's good, right? Bringing in 1,000 people. You know, our test no wars had about 70ish, so that seems like a pretty good scale up. I mean, you're going to be 10 times, well, more than 10 times the people. So, any other thoughts on that?
no, sounds
I
fun.
I'm glad that they are taking the time and effort to increase the people that they're bringing in. Um, I'm hoping that it's going to be worth it. The NDA period, I don't know if it's going to be a permanent, just don't talk about it, or if it's going to be a, well, yeah, you can talk about it, but A2's already started, so who gives a damn? You know, and so it's just going to be at most, maybe 2.5 months if they're, sending out the invites and getting people in real soon, before they're actually going to have that NDA lifted because A2 is coming around the corner. Uh, I'm not really too worried about if I get in or not. I actually maybe should probably focus on getting my C++ skills together so I can do more stuff in a game engine like Unreal, because that's useful.
So Fupo says if you invite 1,000 people, would not expect them all to be logged in at the same time. People have been waiting for this for so long. I get concurrent users and whatever, but I'm guessing people, if it's 1,000 people, they have waited for this. Most of them will probably be testing for them. So uh, I know I would not pass that up. So um, I would hope most of them are online at the same time. The
Mhm.
other thing that was mentioned as
Oh, the
well,
packs.
yes, well not packs,
The not packs, you're right.
yeah,
The
the not
single unit.
packs, and this is a bigger discussion point. I think they did announce that they will be reopening Alpha 2 key sales. Um, now not packs, not the things that we use or bought to get in, but just keys. So just access. Sometime before Alpha 2. What do you think about that?
I think it is an odd sort of thing because is it a good thing that they're going to be bringing more people and charging a premium for it? Or is it a bad thing that people are going to pay a premium and they only ever get the Alpha 2 and beyond testing, which is um, definitely not playing the game. If you want to invest in Ashes of Creation as a hobbyist, as a creator, as somebody who wants to have their input heard and share their opinions to the team and to the community, then this is a good investment if you don't already have Alpha 2 access. This is probably, it's not a better investment than paying your bills and eating, but you'd be able to, however much they're going to charge, which they said, it's not going to make people who, paid to get Alpha 2 access feel bad, feel like we've been cheated or anything, but we don't know what that actual price is going to be. And I think it's just it's a little bit of an interesting sort of thing. It was a better value to buy in where you had to actually buy the enhanced, membership package to get access to Alpha 2 or Alpha 1 or whatever alpha level that you were going to buy into, because it came with a whole lot of goodies and the opportunity for other goodies along the way. It's a completely different situation if all those goodies are gone for now. There's no guarantee that any of them are coming back. But hey, you can play a game that's not complete. If you don't like testing a game, if you don't like giving feedback, if you don't like the idea that there might be server wipes and that you might have to start over, a bunch of different times, then no, I don't think that's actually a good investment. I think there's a lot of good story-based games out there to tide you over until things are maybe a little bit more complete. Um, Especially if you've got a level that I guess actually if you've got one of the lower keys and you buy the upgrade to Alpha 2, I think you'll still get the goodies that normally would have come with it. And somewhere towards the end of Alpha 2, they'll be closing that down. So people who are paid up for Beta 1 or Beta 2 will still have the ability to, buy in and get the stuff that, is given complimentary for that level of buy-in. But you're still not going to have been able to buy in on all the packages that had previously been available, if that's the sort of thing that even matters to you, which it might not. Um, that's kind of the thing. I'm not really going to sit here saying like, "Oh golly, I got ripped off. I could have played Alpha 2 for $50." No, I bought in because I wanted to support the game. I feel dumb that I didn't have the money and the resources and the foresight to see that this was the game to go hard with and getting my permanent subscription or whatever. But I also don't know what staff, friends, and family is going to be like. So, wink, wink, nudge, nudge to a buddy or two. I might get access anyway to a buddy or like I think 5 or 6 now at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And other folks who know me and I know them, but it's because of going back to the SOE days.
You didn't play Alpha 1?
Oh, I played Alpha 1.
Yeah.
Uh, I was given access to Alpha 1 by a
Oh,
very,
gotcha. Okay.
very
I got you.
friendly person.
I got you. I got you. I
Um,
got you. Okay. So I was like, I seem to remember you
oh,
being with us in Alpha 1.
I
Yep.
definitely played it, but
Yep.
the
We
furthest I
tested
had
it.
bought up
Sorry. We
was,
tested it.
oh yeah, no, I played it and I also tested it. It was
Mhm.
fun.
It was
There were
fun.
things that were less fun. And when I asked the question, hey, so what about these things that keep on being broken build after build? It's like, well, just keep on reporting it so we have confirmation that it's broken. And
Mhm.
so it's like, rock on. So that damn quest with the book and the pages and all of that crap that was broken, like after one person accidentally did it the wrong way or something, I reported it every single time. When the requests that were supposed to have a thing there that weren't there, I reported it every single time. Do I expect that to be the case with Alpha 2? Maybe, because I'm wondering if there's going to be better ways to compensate with things being broken or things intentionally breaking, because that's how they want to move the little narrative arcs that after it's been done 2 or 3 times, the next time somebody does it, it's like, oh no, blah 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 happened. The whole book just got destroyed. You know, okay, well, that sucks. Now the other people that were trying to do it can't complete it because the book's been destroyed. Meanwhile, you now need to go to this library somewhere, and other people might be asked to do it where another copy of the book exists. But it's dangerous. It's haunted by spooky Riverlands undead. Anyway,
Biggs,
Yeah.
yeah.
do you have any thoughts on this matter?
I don't
Do you
really. I
care?
think it depends on the. I mean, I don't really because I don't care what other people do. They can spend their money or not. I guess I hope that it's what's the price going to be, around 150 or 200? I'll have to see what the price is going to be, I suppose.
See, I see 250 popping up in chat a bunch of times, but
Well,
that's
250
just
is
what
what
they
the.
think.
Mm, yeah. But no, I was thinking just thinking about playing or testing A1. It's just kind of interesting to me. Um I'm being nostalgic as I think about testing with you and Euro, and it's interesting because I was also testing. Well, I tested with Vertec and Chibri, but also with Simurg. And I don't think Simurg is even doing
Oh,
Ash's stuff anymore.
that's like the Beetlejuice name.
Mm-hmm. So
Don't say it
I don't know.
anymore.
That's just kind of funny
You
to
said it twice, didn't you? Don't say it a third time.
me. So it's funny. Very interesting where we are. It's been a while, you know.
So it's super tricky. Yeah, there's this whole price thing. Theoretically, we should be able to figure out what it is, right? You should be able to go to a pass pack. It was 250. What did it come with? And then you can price out those individually because they sold them individually. And I think everything was pretty consistent, right? Like pets were what, like $5 or something, um, maybe or like 10. The cosmetic, non-functional wearable was like 5. The mount was like I don't know. That you can price this all out, and you should be able to theoretically figure out what you paid for a key. I don't know if this is correct. Clint said that would be around $30. Um, Obviously, I did Kickstarter with Ashes of Creation. Done a lot of Kickstarter. Well, not a lot of Kickstarters, but I'm not one. If I like a game, if it sounds fun to pay to get into the alpha, I don't mind doing that if it's supporting them and potentially developing something further that seems interesting to me. $200 Magisto sounds way too high for just a key. And to be blunt, like $40-50 sounds more on par with what typically, if you're buying just a key to get into an alpha, it's kind of what it normally is.
No, because the whole point of having the high price point is to make sure that it's people who want to test and not people who want to play. And like I said in the chat, $75 is kind of too close to 60, right? If it's $60,
Here's
then you're going to get a bunch of people who are going to think that they're playing and not testing. And
here's
even once the higher
I think you
price,
already
people
have those
understand.
people.
I have a question. What do you guys think about the idea of it being $30 to $40 if it's only for Alpha 2 and it doesn't include Beta 1 or Beta 2?
I'm just saying, I
I
don't
think Dix
care. I
has a
don't
good
have a
point.
dog in the fight. Yeah, I don't have a dog in the fight, but I think that doesn't meet what Steven was wanting, but maybe he's changed his criteria. I don't know.
It's a tricky position. It really is. I mean, for games that are just trying to get funded, $40-50 is pretty normal for an Alpha 2 key. For this, I get it. You want people who are actually going to test. I think Diggs, we already have a lot of people. I mean, we know we have 100,000 testers. There's somewhere between that and 200,000. Um, I would I would bet $10,000 a good proportion of them are expecting to play the game. Will not know exactly what they're getting when they come in. But I get the point, though. Yeah, you have a lower price point. You're going to get in a lot of people who aren't going to test. You're not going to get any data from them. They'll go in for a little bit, they'll quit. Then they're going to be a customer service issue because they're going to want their money back. And then they're going to go somewhere, Reddit, somewhere to view bomb, post videos, whatever it might be. This game that sucked that they didn't realize they were supposed to be testing. So I get that. But if you price it at 200, so here's like my counter argument. Like if you price it at $200 and people paid 250 for a package, well then you're saying that the everything else that came in that package was only worth $50. So then why were we paying more of it individually later? Like there's just it's a really tricky place to be. Um, I mean, just so what about those that paid 250 just for Alpha 2 access? Well, that's not what you paid for, though, right? I mean, you got. I get it. A lot of people, they just wanted Alpha access, but you were buying a pack. You got stuff that came with it, and there was a value associated to that. So, it's a tricky place to be in. Just how do you bring in good people that they're actually going to offer value to you, and then how are you going to not piss off everyone that did spend $250, $350, $500, $1,000? I don't know. It's. I'll be super curious to see where they set the price at.
Mhm.
I think above 100. I don't. I think that's too much. But I agree. You have to figure out what's a price point that becomes too much. And I think what you would look at is where what does it cost to buy a game average? Like if I'm going out to purchase Diablo 4, like what's it going to cost me? And
Mhm.
you go above that by
Mhm.
$20, $30,
Mhm.
to where people look at it and they say, oh, that's just too much. So
I'm expecting.
yeah, so there's this whole price thing. The other part where I'm curious, you know, there were some people saying they were lying about some of this. Um, I don't think that's the case. I mean, they clearly said that we will open up sales in the future. There will be other ways to get keys. That being said, I don't think anyone expected that to come up prior to Alpha 2. um, so I'm super curious about the timing, because the reason given on stream was, well, we feel more confident in our um, networking, right? We feel more confident
Mhm.
in our ability to serve more people. It's like, well,
Mhm.
you've tested that with 70 people. You are getting ready to test it with 1,000, but
No, but he wants again truly massively multiplayer, like, and he wants those masses to be like together.
yeah, I don't know. I'm just super curious as to the rationale. It's weird timing to me. I would rather them, because I am obviously invested in this. I'm not trying to shill a game either. I'm not trying to kiss Steven's ass. I want the game to succeed. I want this to be a fun thing that I get to play for years. And so I also don't want to see all of these other people come in and just completely shit on a game because they don't realize they're testing. And then that just sets everything really far back. So I almost would rather them sort of get everyone in, start A2, make sure it runs well for a few weeks, uh, and then maybe consider, all right, we're 2 weeks in, got all these, because then also theoretically, right, if you've done well, if it looks fun, if things are, if people are excited, you're going to get even more people interested. So I don't know, just weird timing. I'm not sure
Well,
why anyone.
when do those sales start?
We don't know. They just said prior to A2.
Okay.
So Magnus Moonbringer says, not sure why anyone would be mad. There are more players in the game. Yeah, I mean, I get that argument too. I mean, we want you need players for this to work, right? Nodes needs a lot of players, so I don't disagree. But I think
Well,
when
it's
it comes to
partially
people's
because,
money, people get very picky about their money. So
well, but also because people were kind of paying for exclusive access, right? Or that was part of the idea.
yeah, next X Guide says, honestly, I spent $250. I won't be mad if new alpha access will be 100. Yeah, I think that's probably the price point you're looking at to get people that can pay, but also kind of weed out the people that you don't think are going to actually offer you anything. So,
Mhm.
anything else to talk about there?
Yeah, as I was putting in chat there, if there's 1,000+ server queues when prime time is going, I don't think I'm going to play during prime time. I ain't got no time to sit in no queues.
That is an interesting thing to bring up. This was something I was going to say for next. Well, actually, we're going to have Stakino on with us Sunday, so we'll maybe talk a little bit about this. We were going to try to get him on 2 weeks, 2 weekends ago, 1 weekend ago, I don't know.
Yeah, 2 weekends ago, I believe.
I had an issue come up, so we have rescheduled that for next weekend, and I was going to bring this up in the future, but Am I misremembering this? Or thanks for the follow, appreciate you. Did Steven say he actually prefers to have server queues? Because there was a question asked, right, about how are you going to manage the sudden influx and then the
Yeah,
inevitable people leave?
that was the answer. He said was he's fine with there being 1,000+ server queues during prime time. It sounded like, if I'm not mistaken, he said he expects 30 to 40% of the player population to be active during prime time, but that he would rather overpopulate a smaller amount of servers, so as people start to taper off, there's still a healthy population, rather than accommodating the right amount of players for initial queues, but then those servers don't have as many people as more players taper off and they start to become anemic and they need to be collapsed into merged with other servers in whatever apocalyptic event that's going to look like, which I think is going to be hilarious to see. But they don't want it to happen during Alpha 2, so they're going to avoid it. So, until I've got some sort of a time commitment that keeps me away from being able to play when I want to be able to play, I will more likely than not be doing more of my testing in the earlier or extra late hours, and people that just got home from their daily chores and doldrums in polite society, and they want to go kick some ass as an orc or a dwarf or whatever, start hopping on around 5-6 p.m. plus or minus with time zones and stuff with the region of the server, that I will be finding myself doing other things at those times.
I
um
thought
you
you're
know
usually doing other things during those times.
yeah, well, other things could include playing Ashes of Creation, but
What's your typical game session time?
it should totally depend on how much I want to play and what's going on. And more often than not these days, it's what else do I want to get done, because there's a lot of stuff I gotta get done that isn't
I
playing
usually
video
see you
games.
starting. It seems to me like you start at 10:30 Pacific time.
10:30 Pacific, for you
Yeah,
mean PM,
yeah,
for when I start gaming?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's typically what I
sometimes.
see.
Or
Okay.
on Phantom X's old man birthday, we played
Yeah, that's a
a
special
little bit.
occasion.
Yeah, but whatever.
Okay.
Happy old man birthday.
Old
He's
man
somewhere
birthday.
between 25 and 50, everybody.
We
50.
can see the beard.
You
We can see
Somewhere,
the
I
motherfucker.
beard.
said somewhere between 25
Yes,
and 50. I'm not giving you an actual number. I'm
but
not
that
giving That's the
implies
range.
that it could be 50.
Yeah, we
Nah,
see the
you're
beard.
not 50. You're not 50 yet.
No, I'm not 50. No.
No, you're somewhere between 25 and 50.
Yeah, we'll say that. Say closer to.
You're
No, I'm not
29
50.
again.
God damn it.
No,
Yes, 26 it
no.
is.
Is
I already
50
got
old?
people.
I don't know.
I already got people calling me Fat Max. I don't need them to also say I'm 50 years old. 17?
Fat
No, I need to be
MX.
older than
Oh
17.
no. Just mash them together. Fat MX.
Grumpy guy taking a shot there. I'm not going to answer that, but I prefer
Oh, I
that to
mean, that could
50.
also be a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference.
Weirdo, happy late 50th birthday. Oh, God damn it. This one's on you, Neuro. So
uh, all right, I'll take
50.
it. I think I said this
Now
one last
50,
stream too. So
50 adjacent. Come on now. That's it happens to most of us at some point. Actually, that's a very deep thought to most of us at some point. That's very deep. A little bit morbid, but anyways.
I mean,
Um,
everybody generally gets there. Are they alive or not when they get there?
50 is
who
not
knows?
old. Okay,
Better than
Fupo, how old are
20.
you? Yeah, I'm waiting. Old.
All right. But
Um,
anyways, yes, to answer your question, Diggs, it really depends on how much I'm doing. Sometimes when I wake up, the first thing it's like, all right, I'm gonna drink some coffee, I'm gonna play some Balatro or like maybe some other sort of deck builder sort of game or something fun like that for a little bit, and then I don't know, go shopping or something. Then like when it starts to get cooler outside, I'll hit some gardening. I've got 2 eucalyptus trees to kick the hell out of because they're underneath palm trees. And after the fire, that was not more than what, about 8, 10, not even 8 miles away, that burned 133 acres. I'm like, you know what? I don't think I actually need a eucalyptus tree under a palm tree in the backyard anymore. That's not a winning deal. And
yeah.
so while it's fun to watch squirrels, I had 3 squirrels playing squirrel around the tree a couple of days ago. It's like, oh, but the tree's going to explode, and I can't allow that.
Sorry, I'm just sitting here
Anyway,
thinking, you
that's a
assholes,
whole
but I'm
lot of
smiling. That's good.
that's a whole lot of real life sort of stuff. I mean, you could have somebody who's 50 years old play him in the movie about his life because he does do like, things I would associate with an older person. Uh, being a doctor who deals with even older people.
That
And so
50-year-old could definitely
Oh,
be playing somebody Phantom's age.
yeah,
anyway,
I do know a lot of
Bard.
old people. That's true.
Bard is a good transition, Fupo. I'm ready to see it. I know we're not going to see the super mega audio blast as hilarious as that was, but yeah, I'm eager to see. I get the feeling that Bard is going to be a really ace class for caravan runs because between the Bard's ability to support a group in an area and the caravan's ability to support a group in an area, that you're going to want to have a lot of Bards. So you've just got this like major mega overlap of buffs on buffs on buffs going on with everybody, staying close. And so the reward for playing tactically is that you're super buffed, and the reward for playing poorly and running off and trying to do hero stuff is getting smashed because you're all the way out of buff range. What the hell are you doing? You're trying to backstab that person, in stealth 10 meters ago, and you just got found out and now you're dead. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for the Bard. What do you guys think about the Bard?
Look, they spent so much time, Intrepid has spent so much time on their server meshing that Ombwa has not had a chance to show off his Nakua. Of course, if they show off the Nakua before they show off the new Dunir, people are going to have a hissy fit. So
I feel like
we
they already
should
have shown off the Nukua.
we should see the new Dunir in the game sometime soon. And why not have a Dunir Bard?
Dunir Bard.
Mhm. Killed two birds with one stone.
What, are you going to kill the Dunir?
I'll kill everybody. You know me.
Yeah. Everybody thinks that you are the secret, like, PvP king, right? You know that, right? You're
I just
just
don't like it. I didn't say I wasn't good
that
at
you
it.
did.
I just don't
You say all this shit, and you're just gonna come just wreck everybody. That is one of the theories. The Bard. I mean,
It's like you try rolling up on Ray Charles, and all of a sudden your whole posse just got their ass kicked. You didn't realize what happened.
hmm
I put this in chat whenever, and I think Fupo agrees. Thanks for the follow, levels. The EQ Bard, original EQ Bard in Classic, was just like peak amazing. X Guide, thank you as well for following. They had this whole tune twisting. Now, do I think this is going to actually be something we see, tune twisting? I mean, probably not. I don't think anybody's ever replicated that. since EQ, but I would like to see something similar where you have a ton of utility, really for almost any situation. That was, I know that might sound a little overpowered, but individually as a bard, you didn't necessarily like wreck everybody else, but you were able to support everybody else in some way, whether that's mana, whether that's heals, whether that's buffs or debuffs. I would love to see that sort of catch all, especially since this is really the only sort of support class that we have. I think I said utility, I meant support. Since this is the only support class that we have, I hope that at least through specking, at least we're able to go really any direction as far as helping other people. So, but yes, tune twisting was a ton of fun. For those of you who don't know what tune twisting was, bards in EverQuest did have songs, and they did different things. They could increase attack, they could increase your movement speed, they could give you health, they could give you mana regen, but they all had a certain period of time, and starting and stopping the song. Stopping the song, the song still persisted for like, I don't know, 3, 4, or 5 seconds. And so tune twisting was the sort of mixing of 3 or 4 different songs together. And so you actually had a series of buffs going all at once. It was quite the art. It was a lot of fun. Um, but I really want to see it as a huge support class. I'm more curious, like, what do you combine it with? So you have bard. Like, what's that called? I need to go back.
Bardiness.
I need to go back and look up my 70 or 70, 64 class lookup. Minstrel. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. But I'm even curious, like, how you start pairing it with some other things, kind of what the secondaries are going to look like.
Yeah, with the what archetype bonuses
Mm-hmm.
will be available, and also that also makes me wonder what uh node, guild, trade, and religion sort of bonuses a bard would potentially be able to get into. What would augment their capabilities, and what would being a bard kind of facilitate them being able to do, that's different from others. All of that will be very interesting to see as well, because it makes me wonder if there's like an alternative sort of track you can go with bardliness, where if you are at a certain level of crafting quality, you can actually put an active buff on an area where crafters are working and help improve the quality of the things that they're making, as like a sort of specialization, because you know how to make those sorts of things and you're a bard. Or to be able to increase the speed that certain things get processed or refined. So when you go out harvesting with your buddies in the wild, they're able to mine faster and hunt more effectively in different ways. Hunt and trap and track and all of that sort of stuff. That would be pretty interesting to see, as different roles for the bard to be able to do. A bard surveyor being able to, like, you know, basically be a tour guide where they're kind of singing or announcing or whatever all the different things that they're able to spot, so other people get a little bit more detail when they're also trying to survey or do some harvesting. I actually like that, a bard artisan synergy to be a tour guide. That seems kind of fun. That seems like something Diggs would do.
Hmm.
I'd say Diggs playing a minstrel. Do you plan on playing a minstrel?
No,
Not at all.
they're no stealth. I need maximum stealth.
Maximum. So not even like a bard rogue.
I don't think so.
I would have thought a minstrel would be good for your role playing.
Yeah, if I were actually going to play the game. So they didn't have, if they did not have the open seas, that might have been an alt.
I mean, you can play a bard on a raft in this open seas and just play songs until somebody comes to you. Be a siren.
Maybe. Let's see.
Well, we are
I
already
know
getting over, but
when you were talking about, but actually, I kind of like the idea of
Huh.
digs at the top of a ship with a big old megaphone and like a glowing 2-colored flag going wee. Different kind of siren, but it could make a very intimidating ship to see that and hear that on the horizon.
It would be intimidating to see that for sure.
And Navarre says instruments are not exclusive to the bard, as far as I know. That's it. I didn't realize. I didn't realize that.
Well, any class can use any
Well, yeah. I mean,
weapon.
it
So
makes sense, but well, we don't know how it works yet as a weapon. I guess we have to see how that. Hopefully, that's part of it as well. When they showcase the bard, that they actually have a weapon, preferably with a weapon tree that we can see. So to go along with the skill trees. Can't wait for that naval stream one day. As far as we know, that's a little ways away. So, I do want to also mention I mentioned there were three pieces of information that I guess four if you include bards, but the other was for those of you who are interested in this and applied. We have been given a little bit more of information about the content creator club or whatever program. Everybody's been kind of waiting on that in the creator community, like to see
for how long?
a while to see who gets in, who doesn't get in, like what is the process, what's it like. And we did find 3 years. Yeah, it's been a bit. Is that when they announced it? It should be actually.
2019.
Hold on, that thread is still up, right? I'm gonna find this, but Margaret did talk about they're looking to hire. I forget the position, but they're looking to hire. Essentially, it's like somebody that's kind of the go to, the in between for the creator people and Intrepid to kind of help and get them acclimated and stuff like that. So I've not yet looked to see if that position is posted to see if they're hiring or if they have somebody already planned internal. But it does look like that's starting to come about. This kind of ties me back into Alpha
Wait,
2
why
keys.
does it seem like that's coming about?
Because this is the first we've heard anything about them being close to it as soon as they have somebody that's in the company.
What? No, they said that 5 years ago. They've been saying
Fubo
it
says it's not
every
posted
year
yet,
for 5
probably
years.
soon.
Well, now Mags is actually ready to hire somebody to do this, and I don't know if it'll be somebody internal or if they want somebody who's like maybe got a little bit more business side of things. Maybe they had been a manager for a stream sponsoring company, or maybe they are going to be somebody who continues having that sort of company, but they're also going to work full time at Intrepid. Who knows? There's a lot of really talented folks I'm aware of out there because, well, if they're good at what they do, then they're going to promote themselves too, and that's how you know about them. So I know there's definitely very good people specific to this role. I think about with the regardless of how things ended up with it, the OP group was something that I kind of thought about with that, and that that's the sort of thing Omid would have been absolutely perfect for. Would be that sort of role because dude knew talent and how to foster that talent. And like that's I think the level of skill, having been there and seen that and known what was going on, even if she was working on a different project, I think Maggie was able to get a very good idea about some of the systems and some of the methods and things that he had been doing to help promote the game and was able to learn a lot from that. A lot of streamers learn a lot from that because he was very transparent about here, if you do these specific things, that's how you build your community, and was very, very forward about it. And it's really just like, do you have the stuff to do that? And so, going back to like people of that caliber and that skill set, I think, is what they're looking at for this sort of role. So that would make sense why they wouldn't necessarily be hiring up internally. Not that I don't think Vaknar and Roshan don't know how to judge a good talent. Not that I don't think Mags is able to do that herself, because I'm sure she could, but that they want to have somebody that is their only role and not lose any of the people in any of the positions that they're already doing a really great job at. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for. If there is an internal promotion, hey, cool. Like I could definitely, like I said, I could definitely see Roshan doing that. Um, he's a very smart, tall gentleman. I've known him since I think even before 2014 SOE Live, but certainly chatted and hung out with him various times since then.
I hope we got the map back up. Would expect it to be a position they're looking to fill as a new hire, probably. Yeah. Oh, we're on our way to the Dungeon Kill. I mean, I also wonder, you pair this announcement with the Alpha 2 key conversation, and I start to wonder also, because that we've never been able to give anything away, right? Because you are not able to trade packs, and it's against TOS to give your account away or play someone else's account. So there's really never been a good way to do giveaways. And I know some have tried. I think Jamie Chaos, Tangents of Creation, they did, I believe, and I think they're just waiting to be able to, basically purchase something like this for a person. But I don't know. I would hope that within that creative program there are certain codes, whether it's for the game, for the testing, for any cosmetics, something like that would be what I would expect. So
We need some merch. We need some merch.
we do also need some merch. This is, I think, this is an original Ashes of Creation t-shirt. I don't know if you can see it or not. I don't know how close I have my camera cut. Oh, you kind of can.
So it can't be that fat. You can still fit into it.
Oh man.
No, he said he's
Now we're
old,
getting
not
to size as well.
You said fat. Somebody called you Fat to Mex, and I'm saying you
Oh
can't
yeah,
be that
not
fat because that's
MX.
a
Yes.
7-year-old. It's got to be a 7-year-old shirt.
We're just making fun of your name left and right, and
I'm not.
Steven,
He brought it up.
Steve,
I'm saying it can't be
Steven,
true.
Steven even said after he brought it up, in the Q&A, that I'm just trolling him. So you are officially, both of you are officially being trolled, both Fant MX and Diggs with his exclusive season pass.
Fant
So
MX down.
yeah, Battle Pass. That's right. So
you guys don't get to hear that when I do that. I forget what it's
no.
dead. I forget what all I set it up for. Dead, down, and then my name. Yeah, I think.
Fant MX down.
Yeah.
Mostly from NA. I would imagine the answer X Guide is yes, but it definitely depends on what data they're actually looking for, and if there's somebody who was truly exemplary that's outside of the area that they're kind of expecting, then they're probably going to bring that person on. That is a very good question, though. It would be a good idea to start getting an idea of how far away players can play on the different servers, and where the trouble and bottlenecks and stuff like that actually come in, and what sort of things they're going to need to do to resolve it.
Yeah, I think I don't think it would just be NA. I mean, I think it's exactly what they said. Top players. So, I mean, PI has people from everywhere. So, I mean, they certainly have been used to mixing times into testing to make things work. I mean, Lex is what? Lex is in Australia. So, I mean, we had some like really backwards times, people playing together. So, all right. Well, we are, I think, towards the end of this. Anything else you want to talk about today? New Zealand. Sorry. Yes, that's correct. Oh, he's going to be pissed that I said what I said. But don't tell him. Please don't tell him, Fubu.
I think
I've been drinking.
Other than the repeated announcement that we intend to be back next week was Stickqueno. We'll have to get a pronunciation guide from them before.
Just call him
maybe
Q.
The Q. All right. That we will be having them on next time. We'll be talking about stuff. They'll be asking us about stuff. It'll be interesting. And other than that, I don't know who's on the raid at this point.
Yeah, Droog Plays. So is another, actually, I already had him pulled up. Is
All right.
another Ashes of Creation content creator for you all to get to know. Before we raid, I appreciate all of you that has hung out with us today. We will be here next Sunday, as Neuro just said, with Q, and I'll put some information out on socials for that. I am redoing our Discord as well, so please come in, hang out with us, chat, tell me what you think. Trying to make it a little bit more friendly to everyone. So, all right, I just sent the raid. We will be going here in just a minute. Yeah, thank you all, and we will see you next Sunday. Sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice. Damn, we really haven't even talked that much.
Either you have to drink more or drink less. Then
I was gonna say no. I need to go. I
Definitely
need to
one
go
or the
drink
other.
more. I'm out. I need more. I need more. All right.
Grab
All right,
those
everybody.
old cough syrup, everybody.
Y'all have a y'all have a great week. But Quinfall Tuesday. I will probably be streaming that. So
All right.
kind of hang out with me. We were going. I think this game has the potential to. I'm probably going to eat my words later, but I think it has the potential to surprise people. We'll see. We will find out.
Surprise has a lot of range of things that can mean. So I think you might be right.
So we will find out. We will find out together Tuesday, which isn't that far away. So paid assets. Yes, there is quite a bit of paid assets. But that is the point of having assets that you can buy to use them. So for small teams. All right, Raid's going to send if I don't quit talking. So I am just going to send it now. Y'all be good, and we'll see you next. I'll see you Tuesday. We'll see you back here on Sunday. Peace.
Later, everybody.